Okay, so I'm Benjamin Rietti from ETABS, and I'm joined today by the wonderful Christina Feltz from Kantar. And I think we should get started now. Okay, excellent. So we're going to be talking a little bit about a case study from Kantar, as to how they're leveraging report automation for many, many projects. Then I'll give you a sort of a demonstration of automation in action and how it could really make a difference to typical reporting in market research. We're going to look at other use cases for automation as well, including new technology harnessing the cloud in order to get cloud-based automation going for you, and this will then summarize with the overall benefits. So, and we'll have time for Q&A at the end as well. So, over to Christina.
Thank you. All right. So, for over 17 years, Kantar has been utilizing ETABS Enterprise to automate our client deliverables. At the time, our charting team, who were responsible for manually pulling the data into our PowerPoint deliverables, were looking for ways to become more efficient. The charting team, while PowerPoint experts, had no previous programming knowledge. So Enterprise, with its user-friendly interface and non-essential programming knowledge, was selected as a potential solution. It also didn't limit any of our data visualizations, as any native PowerPoint chart or element could be automated. Initially, we used the tool to automate highly templated reports with 100% consistency, or to format our raw data into more favorable formats for our internal analysis tools. As we became more familiar and gained expertise, we used the tool to automate as much as possible, especially after realizing the efficiency and accuracy that Enterprise brings. We began using it to automate multi-market tracking reports, standard deliverables for Kantar solutions, which would span across different clients and client needs, and any other deliverables or portions of deliverables with consistency or repetition. We were no longer saving just a few hours. We were saving days in production time, and we're able to deliver our insights to our clients earlier. With our continuing investment in ETABS Enterprise Automation, we on average add an incremental annual savings of 17,000 hours annual. So while some amount of consistency is essential for automation, some variables can be accounted for if known from the beginning. One of Enterprise's biggest benefits is that it can adapt to many situations which naturally occur in marketing research studies, such as multiple and different types of data sources, varying client brands, competitors, or markets, varying statements between waves or different market reports, a fluctuating number of columns or rows in tables and charts, a differing ordering of brands or statements, or even just any other elements, and a lot more. Kantar uses this adaptability to easily automate portions of large multi-market tracking studies, as well as automate some deliverables for Kantar products, which span across different clients and client needs. So now I'm going to take you through two different case examples. The first one is for a multi-market and category tracking study. So in this case, Kantar needed to produce 2 reports across several markets, categories, and client brands for a large beverage company. Each category and market require different brand lists and time periods, as well as some other known variables. There are also 2 reports for this. The first of which was the KPI report, which consisted of 1 slide per brand across all categories and markets, totaling about 517 individual reports. The second of which was the main report, which consisted of about 90 slides each and had to be duplicated for 37 different brands. So what did we do? Kantar developed 2 custom enterprise automation programs, 1 for each deliverable. With some planning around all known variables, each program consisted of 1 master template, which was then replicated for each necessary market, category, and brand, resulting in an estimated 975 hours of annual savings and cutting down our delivery timing by 2.5 weeks. The second example is actually utilizing one of ETABS Enterprise's new features, the Google Slides add-on. So in this case, Kantar needed to produce 600 plus media ad reports annually in Google Slides. The The reports consisting of 20 slides would be run in batches and would require a fast turnaround of about 1 day. They needed to be standard in structure, yet also needed room for variance, as the reports would span a variety of clients and industry categories. So, utilizing the Google add-on feature, a universal automation with a standard report structure was implemented. The automation setup included all possible slide variations for the different ad types. We also utilized the looping feature within Enterprise to allow batch reporting. Most importantly, all reports were delivered accurately in Google Slides with fully editable charts, saving an estimated 1,400 hours annually. So now, automation is integral to all deliverable production at Kantar. ETABS Enterprise, while only one element of our overall automation toolkit, still plays a significant role, which continues to grow. There you go.
Thank you, Christina.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a brief intro to ETABS. We've been in the industry for many years, and our whole specialty is this back-end reporting process that encompasses data visualization, online reporting, and report automation. Headquartered in the UK, but we do have teams across the world in the US and APAC, Europe as well. And we won a number of awards. And the beauty of having an international team, of course, is also the ability to provide support to our clients around the clock. So it's pretty much close to 24 hours a day, depending on the time zone and time of day somebody may need to speak to our team. So, automated charting is not new. Nowadays, getting charts generated automatically is fairly common and often taken for granted. But most options out there aren't actually that flexible. Sometimes you'll have a bright spark on the team who will create an Excel macro to run off a bunch of charts. And while good at what they do, macros are not perfect. Once made, it's like concrete. You either use it as it is, or you have to smash it to pieces and start again. If the expected data structure changes, or even if the client changes their mind in the layout and the formatting, they want something adjusted, then that macro will simply have to be thrown away and be recreated. Maybe the charts are given to you as images that can't be edited. Very, very common. And that's very frustrating when you want to make some adjustments. Not very helpful, and you're probably somewhat limited with the chart types that they'll offer you, and you're left with a feeling that you've got so much to have to adjust, especially when you've got changing conditions across the project, like the examples that Christine mentioned. Maybe you have an online analysis tool that offers rendering of analyses into PowerPoint charts. That's very sweet, but then you're still left with a lot of fiddling to have to do after the event, after the automation is done, and then that's holding up your final deliverable. So the optimum solution for an automated market research and insights reporting should firstly be a system that can read in just your standard banner tables or Excel files or SPSS, SAV files, for example, without having to ask DP to make adjustments. It should be able to handle variance in trackers or multi-market studies without much fuss. Handling different brand lists, numbers of brands across waves or markets, show or calculate significance or stat testing, deal with low base and suppress values where needed, and other condition-based analysis text. It should automatically handle bringing brand logos or placement of indicators onto the slides. If the solution can natively understand the actual language of market research data and our industry's unique reporting needs, then so much more detail can be automated. This is ideal for trackers, continuous studies, multi-market projects, multi-category projects, where so much more detail can actually be automated. Think about customer satisfaction studies, employee satisfaction studies, anything that's repetitive in some way, the automation is pretty much a no-brainer. Even concept testing, ad testing, and even some ad hoc projects. And as we'll see later, there are new options to be able to get you further down the line when it comes to ad hoc charting as well. So we're talking about automating client-ready reports, basically, with every level of detail fully automated So you can then concentrate on the analysis and add more value to those projects. Just to understand the paradigm then of how this works. Rather than dictating what types of charts to use or telling to use a system that gives that limited choice, or you have to design the whole project in that system, we allow you to start from your template slides. Template can be in PowerPoint, Word, Excel, and now even Google Slides, Google Sheets. That means all the design work, all the choice of layout and charts, that's all done in your native PowerPoint or Google. That means you can begin today to automate an existing project that was already previously delivered, let's say for several waves or several markets. You can just pick that up and then get the automation going. So that's our template. Next slide would be the data. That's pretty important. So the data can come in from Excel, it can come from Google Sheets, it can come in from SPSS, it can even come from online data sources. So if you've got dynamic like dashboards online, like Power BI, Tableau, or your own platforms, the data can be read in via an API into the automation platform. And then what you're left with is the populated deck. Again, that could be PowerPoint, that could be Google. Might be actually interesting to know, is anyone in this room sort of delivering slides in Google at the moment? Okay, it's definitely increasing then. So yeah, it is becoming a more popular platform for delivering market research results. So let's have a look and see the system in action. Obviously it's pre-recorded to avoid any issues on the day. So basically this is the enterprise desktop version. You can see we're looking at some standard banner tables as input, and there's no limit to the number of these files that we could be pulling from. And these are just regular tables of frequencies, percent, stat testing in, and so on. So there's no need to tell DP to make any changes. Looking at the template now, several slides here. So this is all within PowerPoint. We'll see Google later. There's some little indicators, we call these tags, on the slides to show where data needs to come in, and they describe which data from where and what has to happen to it. Next slide's got a chart in it. If I click on that chart, you can see it's a regular PowerPoint chart, and it has our little tags in there as well. And those will all be cleared up and be replaced with actual data in a few moments. Notice also the header here, so conditional text. Has our brand awareness gone up, has it gone down, and by how much, X%. A ranking table as well. All these elements that you see will be automated in a few moments. But as you can see, our starting point is your template, it's the PowerPoint. This is a table, it's going to end up with a heat map effect, it's going to bring in logos, flags, but again, just a regular PowerPoint table. Or you could embed Excel if you want. Another slide with a table in it. This will show stat testing in there. Notice also the footer, all the n equals there, just zoomed in. Those can be populated as well. So all the base values will come to life. And then the last slide to show some NPS scores. A slide that's going to be automatically replicated across different markets. Again, it's full of charts, full of regular PowerPoint objects in there. So that's the template. Let's have a look and see this in action. Clicking run. So the system is now going through every chart, every object on every slide, looking at what data needs to go in there and populating it. It will also do any conditional formatting. So I don't know, looking at different brand logos. If it's Pepsi, it's always going to be blue. If it's Coke, it's always got to be red, that type of thing. Or bring in the brand logos and put them on the slides in the right places. It will also do mathematics, so calculate stat testing, significance, sort the data, rank it, compare with norm values, benchmark values, and so on. So that's now finished. Let's have a look at the output that it generated. So here you have the populated slides. So previously there was just a placeholder for that piece of text that says wave 4, and now it's put in the current wave. Look at the next slide, a bit more fun. You can see the indicators have gone in automatically on the charts. Notice the chart is fully editable, so you can make changes. All that data is in there now. The header automatically says decreased by 10%. and the ranking table as well on the right, showing where our fictitious brand is holding at this particular wave, and any change across time. Next, with the heat map effect, the table colored in conditional coloring based on the values, the flags, the brand logos all gone in automatically. Each wave, obviously if the order changes, then they will change automatically too. The next slide, I mentioned about the stat testing letters have gone in. Stat testing can be done natively or it can be coming from the tables that you've already been giving it. And the base values down at the bottom as well, so all the n equals for the various variables. Also spotting low base and putting an asterisk to indicate that. You can put whatever you want, NA or so on. And then this last slide that was then automatically replicated 3 times for each of the global, Australia and France. Notice the NPS scores and different charts. Again, still editable if you need to make any adjustments. And the brand list has changed, of course, from market to market. So we're handling that variance, as we pointed out before. Okay, so we focused on PowerPoint because that's still the majority of use cases. What else can be automated? So we mentioned Google. As anyone that's used Google can testify, Google's not the easiest of platforms to, well, at least from the slides point of view, it's not the easiest. I can see some agreement in the audience. It's very it takes a lot of time and it's very frustrating to deal with that platform. But thankfully we've been able to crack that. So automating putting the data into native Google charts within the slides is now possible, as well as Google Sheets. So here's that same study we saw before, but in Google. So this is in native Google Slides itself. And you can see the template and then the populated equivalent of it, even aligning the indicators on the charts. Next up, we've got that same slide with the conditional formatting, pulling in the brand logos and flags as well. So that's PowerPoint, that's Google, if you like, sorted. What more can we use? We've got a whole platform here. And we understand the whole concept, but we've been showing it to you on sort of static reports. So how about leveraging that same technology to obtain automatic editable exports from online dashboards or online data sources? So as you're probably aware, most dashboard platforms out there fail to provide useful exports, where the data they export is as images, charts images. You can't really play with that. So even if they do offer an Excel option, you're still going to end up having to do charting from that yourselves. So based on the mainstream automation solution that we've just been looking at, Enterprise Cloud is a fully cloud-based platform that can accept data from anywhere, including like popular dashboards like Tableau, Power BI, or even perhaps your own custom platforms. And they can match up that data with your choice of a fully editable native PowerPoint or Google Slides deck. Let's see a brief clip of that in action. So I'll explain the principle behind this solution. We've developed an export function that can be integrated with an existing dashboard. If you notice the export button in the top right-hand corner. When I click on that, the exporter sends a data packet containing the currently visible data over to our cloud server. And within seconds, the Enterprise Cloud Server then populates a PowerPoint or Google Slides equivalent of that dashboard slide, that visualization, and with that packet of data. And it populates each object accordingly, and then emails that populated deck back to the person who asked for it. And here it is, a fully editable PowerPoint equivalent ready for me to work with. As you can see, fully editable. And this data has literally just come from the dashboard that the user was filtering and playing with before in real time. The same platform can also generate chart decks for ad hoc studies from your own standard templates with your own preferred chart types and so on. You'd simply fill in or upload a form to describe which data to pull for which questions and into which chart or slide type from your template deck, from a library perhaps, and within seconds an entire deck can be created ready for you to use in your presentation and you can then cherry pick what you want from it. So here it is, it's created up a few slides based on different charts. But it would be your charts, your color scheme, your palette, and so on, your layout. This gives you a great way to start with like an ad hoc study where you want a chart deck to pull from and save all that time, or maybe you need to provide an appendix to go along with your report. So that's what I mean by fully automated reporting, rather than just being handed a bunch of charts and then still having to spend ages fine-tuning the deliverable. And there are several strategic benefits to automated reporting. Firstly, you can leverage the technology to reduce the time to be able to get your outputs, and of course the cost of reporting. And once the headache and onus of reporting is transferred from your fingers, however much good exercise it's doing for your fingers, then you'll have both the time and the headspace to utilize your analytical skills to dig for additional and more deeper insights. Thirdly, you can seize more new tangible revenue generating opportunities. For example, if field work is monthly, but reporting was only just about manageable quarterly, then you can consider offering automated charting monthly to your stakeholders and clients. And if that offer doesn't go down well, I'd be quite surprised. It's literally very little extra effort to have it done monthly instead of quarterly. Manual reporting not only costs you valuable time, but of course it's prone to human error. So by reporting directly from the source data itself, you're reducing those chances for typos and inaccuracies. So you and your clients and stakeholders will have much more confidence in the data being reported. Smaller companies in particular can begin to consider pitching on larger projects, more complex projects, than they would otherwise have ever even attempted due to their lack of resources in their team. But the automation makes all of that possible now. And with the cost of reporting reduced and new channels for revenue generation, profit margins can be quite easily increased, and quite significantly too. So, to summarize, there are several strategic values from the bigger picture point of view to automated reporting. Automation gives you the chance to add value to what you're doing now. You can do it better, and you can do more of it. You're enhancing your range of deliverables, and it's giving you more ways to generate additional revenue, or of course maintain or grow profits in otherwise turbulent times that we're finding ourselves. Innovating your client reporting strengthens relationships. It could well make the difference between keeping or losing a client or project, or the difference between becoming stale in a client's eyes or making tangible changes that will be mutually beneficial and promote you to being seen as their partner rather than just another supplier. So don't just continue resting on your laurels doing the same thing. And finally, even staff appreciate the automation. Instead of exercising their fingers preparing chart decks, they can exercise their minds, and don't underestimate that. It's way less stressful as well. And their increased job satisfaction will translate into a happier team and company. So we have a few minutes for questions. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of straightforward charts where you take data to bar charts or pie charts. But let's say you have data that is the result is a form of computation or a formula that's taking data from multiple sources, multiple parts of your data set, and then bringing it together into one chart. Is that done on the back end before it gets to tabs, or between tabs and tabs?
So it could be either way. You could either do that manipulation, if you like, before and in the source data files, or it could be done within the enterprise platform before it's populating the slides, applying formulae, conditions, and so on. Yeah.
How much, I guess, effort or work is needed when you're wanting to make your reporting structure evolve? What are the steps needed? Does someone need to reach out to your support team for help in setting that up, or is it like set it up automation by yourself?
Great question. You have the choice. you can set it up yourselves using the software. We provide free training and onboarding and ongoing support. Or if you want, you can come to our team. We have a whole service team that can actually do the automation for you. Or a hybrid approach where we can do the automation, then set it up and hand it over to you to then run going forward. So it's up to you which way you fits your work balance. Sure. And particularly if you've got a lot of repetitive projects, it does make sense to think about taking it in-house. But if it's just a handful, you might want our team just to do it, and then you don't need to learn anything. Just let our guys do the setup. Still have a couple more minutes. If any other questions? Either for myself or Christina?
Sure.
You mentioned also taking from Excel, so you're saying that you could set up, say, an Excel template.
Yeah. So you're trying to take data from Excel and put it back in Excel?
Let's say I have a data set. I've done a research project, and I've got a bunch of data sets
Yeah.
in Excel, and I want to put together like an Excel report.
Oh yeah, it can go right into Excel.
So it pulls from the data set.
Yeah, you can create an Excel report. Yep.
We've seen several projects actually where they have both an Excel template that's obviously more data-centric, and they have a PowerPoint template that's obviously a bit more graphical. And you could set it up so that the one setup, in theory, could actually populate both templates one after the other. Because you're essentially putting the same data, but sometimes into Excel, sometimes into PowerPoint. Okay, I think we're probably done then. If anything else comes to mind, you have our contact details on the slide there. There's also an ETABS booth. You'll look up on the seating outside and you'll see there's a Batman Gotham City projection, and we're underneath that if you have difficulty finding us. Hope you enjoy the rest of the conference, and thank you very much for your time this morning.
Yes, thank you.